जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा कालाचंजी राधे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Continuing with our daily reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, we are on Canto 3. We're going to begin chapter 22 today. Yeah, we're going to do chapter 22 today. Text 1 through 14. Then our focus verse is text 6. Okay. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can do the prayers together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadev, the author. Nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So, we're on chapter 22 of the third canto. We are quite far into the third canto. The section that we are reading is about one of the daughters of Swayambhuva Manu. So Lord Brahma is trying to create, right? The universe has been created, and then Brahma has been created, and then Lord Brahma is trying to create more bodies so that the material universe can start its activities. But then what happens when he's trying to do it? We have the I can't make it. Is it on at least? Yeah. Yeah. And even before that, the earth itself is not there, right? They're trying to create, and Bhuma Devi is not there. And then what happened? Hiranyaksha basically submerged Bhuma Devi in the Garbha ocean, right? That's why Varahadev had to come and then lift Mother Earth from the Garbha ocean. And now we're ready for creation. And then Swayambhuva Manu, who is one of the progenitors, they're called Prajapatis. Lord Brahma takes help of his sons to start populating the earth. So Swayambhuva Manu is one of the progenitors, one of the Prajapatis, and then we are going to discuss about his sons and daughters, because Vidura wanted to know about Swayambhuva Manu, because Swayambhuva Manu was an exalted personality. He was not an ordinary person. So therefore, Vidura wanted to ask about Swayambhuva Manu and his lineage and his two sons and daughters, what was happening, right? And which of his sons or daughters are we speaking about in this section? Devahuti, right? Swayambhuva Manu had 3 daughters and 2 sons. Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. Dap up from the last time. Dap up is the mnemonic, memory mnemonic to remember this. Devahuti, Akuti, Prasuti, the Uti sisters. And then Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So this is Devahuti that we are talking about. And before even Devahuti comes into the picture, we are given an incredible description of an amazing personality. Who is that? Yes, Kardama Muni, right? We're given this incredible description of this exalted devotee, Kardama Muni, who's been meditating for 10,000 years. He's been practicing this yoga, devotional service for 10,000 years and has had direct vision of the Lord. The Lord appears right in front of him and then tells him, okay, you can marry. Because Kardama Muni was commanded by Brahma to create more progeny. This was another Prajapati, right? So Lord Brahma is telling Kardama Muni, you please marry and create more progeny. So Kardama Muni doesn't just go and then said, okay, I'm ready to get married. he's practically doing austerities for 10,000 years so that he can prepare himself for marriage and find the right person. And the same Lord who is in everybody's heart has also informed Swayambhu Manu that, hey, there is this person for your daughter. Kardama Muni, who has been performing incredible austerities. And actually, who tells Swayambhu Manu? Do you know? Oh, probably that's in this chapter. We'll read about it. No. Good guess. But no, we'll read about it in this chapter. So now, Swayambhu Manu has come to the hermitage of Kardama Muni. He's done his austerities, he's for 10,000 years. And now he's in his hermitage performing still devotional service. And now Swayambhu Manu in the previous chapter came to the hermitage of Kardama Muni, and then Kardama Muni spoke wonderful verses on Swayambhu Manu, glorifying him, right? And now he's taken a pause, and now we'll see what Kardama Muni is speaking in this chapter. So the title of the chapter is The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So text 1, can we read the translation?
I had a guess real quick. Narada Muni? It sounds like Narada Muni.
Yes.
Yes. It sounds like Narada Muni. No, I didn't.
Narada Muni. Yes.
Sri Maitreya said, after describing the greatness of the emperor's manifold qualities and activities, the sage became silent, and the emperor, feeling modesty, addressed him as follows. Manu replied, to expand himself in Vedic knowledge, Lord Brahma, the personified Veda, from his face created you, the Brahmanas, who are full of austerity, knowledge, and mystic power, and are averse to sense gratification.
Brahmanas, these are the qualities that Brahmanas live by. Austerity, knowledge, mystic power, yeah, but they're really averse to sense gratification because they're in the mode of goodness. Okay, text 3.
For the protection of the Brahmanas, the thousand-legged Supreme Being created us, the Kshatriyas, from his 1,000 arms. Hence the Brahmanas are said to be his heart, and the Kshatriyas his arms.
Which, what is he describing? Swayambhu Manu, we've read this.
The Virat Rupa?
Yeah. It's the Purusha Sukta confirmed, the second chapter of the second canto. It's a description of this universal form which has thousands of heads and thousands of hands and thousands of legs. And the head of the Virat Purusha represents the Brahmanas because they are the intelligent class of the society who are leading the society. And the arms of the Virat Purusha represent the Kshatriyas who are there to protect everybody. Here it says the heart of the Brahmanas. Okay, let's continue.
That is why the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas protect each other, as well as themselves. And the Lord himself, who is both the cause and effect, is yet immutable, protects them through each other.
Jai. Very nice purport Prabhupada gives.
Now I have resolved all my doubts simply by meeting you, for your lordship has very kindly and clearly explained the duty of a king who desires to protect his subjects.
Do you know how Kardama Muni described this? Swayambhu Manu is saying that, oh, you very clearly described what my duties are. Did Kardama Muni basically go, Jai Shri Srinatha Kalachanji ki Jai? How did Kardama Muni explain this to Swayambhu Manu? Did he say, okay, you're a Kshatriya, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this? In just by glorifying Swayambhu Manu, Kardama Muni spoke about all the wonderful qualities that a Kshatriya should have. This is amazing on how And this is amazing understanding of Swayambhuva Manu also, right? How they were completely on an incredibly intellectual platform where nobody needed to say things very directly. Kardama Muni, when he was glorifying Swayambhuva Manu, was saying so many things or aspects about Kshatriya Dharma in the previous chapter. And it was a Brahmana. He was supposed to instruct the Kshatriya who comes to him, right? This is the duty of a Brahmana. But he didn't sit him and say, okay, you've come to my ashram, come. Now I'm going to load you up with 15 minutes of what you have to do. No. Just by glorifying, you should go back and see how amazing Kardama Muni does it. And Swayambhuva Manu just gets it. He's saying thank you for doing it. Okay, take 6.
It is my good fortune that I have been able to see you, for you cannot easily be seen by persons who have not subdued the mind or controlled the senses. I am all the more fortunate to have touched with my head the blessed dust of your feet.
Yeah. We'll come back to this verse. This is our verse for today.
Is it 7?
Yeah, 7.
I have fortunately been instructed by you, and thus great favor has been bestowed upon me. I thank God that I have listened with open ears to your pure words.
Yeah.
O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter.
My daughter is the sister of Priyabhat and Uttanapat. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character and good qualities.
The moment she heard from the sage Narada of your noble character, learning, beautiful appearance, youth and other virtues, she fixed her mind upon you.
You got this right. He says this. The moment she heard from Narada. So Narada Muni informs Swayambhuva Manu about Kardama. Okay.
Therefore, please accept her, O chief of Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your husband's duties.
No. Household duties.
To deny an offering that has come of itself is not commendable, even for one absolutely free from all attachment, much less one addicted to sensual pleasure.
Mm-hmm. The last verse.
One who rejects an offering that comes of its own accord, but later begs a boon from a miser, thus loses his widespread reputation, and his pride is humbled by the neglectful behavior of others.
Yeah. Jai Shri Radha Kalachandji ki Jai. Yeah. This entire section of Kardama Muni and Devahuti is an incredible exposition of Grihastha of married life. So, Prabhupada says, every single psychological phenomenon that you can find in this world is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every single psychological phenomenon. And when I was getting married, this was the instruction from my spiritual master as well, is to go and read this section together, me and my wife together, because it's incredible. Actually, you should read it before also to see what kind of a person that you should get married to also. So many different descriptions are given. So Kardama Muni was an incredible yogi, right? He performed austerities for 10,000 years. Does anybody remember the description of Devahuti?
I just remember that she's said to be a great sage herself. She
was a mystic yogini herself. It was not that she was not an equal match. And this is what Swayambhuva Manu is telling Kardama Muni to convince him also, is that she is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character and good qualities. These are very necessary things. If the age is too much, if the character is too different, if the qualities that don't match, it's a very difficult thing to sustain in a marriage. And of course there are different things, like Kardama is a Brahmana, Devahuti is a Kshatriya, therefore you can get married like that. The husband can be from a higher Varna, the wife can be from the... So all this is, Prabhupada explains amazingly in his purports on Grihastha Ashrama. And we will see throughout that this is amazing how they live their lives. How, beginning from how they get married. It's not that Devahuti actually saw Kardama Muni. Did she see Kardama Muni? No, she never saw. Just by hearing about his qualities. And she said, I would like to marry him. And then, did she go directly to Kardama Muni? No, she asked her father. This is how Prabhupada says, this is how marriage was done. Is that the father, before even the girl, when they were of age, they would, the parents would search, actually, father and the mother, because Satarupa is also here. It's not just Swayambhu Manu here. Swayambhu Manu, his wife, and Devahuti, all of them are present here, and then they're coming and requesting Kardama Muni, saying, you're a good match for my daughter, and then please don't deny this, because we know, indirectly he's saying, Swayambhu Manu is saying, that we know that you've prayed to get married. You're not Naishtika Brahmachari. So this is one of the verses. So that there are two kinds of brahmacharis. One kind of brahmachari is called a Naishtika Brahmachari. A Naishtika Brahmachari is somebody who is celibate forever, throughout his life. He never gets married. But there is another kind of brahmachari, which is the majority, where in the brahmachari ashram, you're going to the teacher's house to be a student, right? You're learning from him under his tutelage. And then after some time, you've been trained, and then at 25 years, Prabhupada says, the brahmachari gets married, which is perfectly fine. It's a perfectly fine way of going through your life. That, okay, I would like to get married, but now you have the incredible training of sense control. Because the problem with Grihastha Ashram, or not the problem, is the advantage with Grihastha Ashram is there is nobody to monitor you. You can practically do anything that you want. You're completely independent. If you don't have the training, prerequisite training before you enter Grihastha Ashrama, you can practically break every principle that you can think of. Because you're on your own, you're independent, and then you're earning money, you're in touch with so much ability to enjoy, and if there is no sense control, then that's the austerity that the Grihasthas perform, right? The Krishna says in the Gita, the austerities that the Grihasthas perform is through sense control, because they have access to everything that they want. The brahmacharis do austerity through what, through hearing. They're hearing constantly when they're the student, like that. Different ashramas perform different austerities. But it's something that's very interesting about this entire scene itself. Kardama Muni is of a marriable age. For Satya Yuga, it's probably 30,000 years or 25,000 years, because it's just perform austerities itself for 10,000 years. They live for 100,000 years in that time. And Devahuti was also about the same age, which means Swayambhu Manu must have been at least 30,000 years older than Kardama Muni. But you see how he is behaving with Kardama Muni. He is in fact paying his obeisances. In the text that's our focus was, he says, I am all the more fortunate to have touched with my head the blessed dust of your feet. How does that happen? For your head to touch the dust of somebody's lotus feet, what should you have to do? Yeah, you have to pay obeisances, right? This is somebody who is so old, who is so senior to Kardama Muni, and yet looks like he's paid obeisances to Kardama Muni himself. And he's the Kshatriya, right? He's the emperor of the universe. He's incredibly wealthy. On a societal standard, Swayambhu Manu is somewhere here. And Kardama Muni is not emaciated, but he has matted hair. On the external at least, he doesn't look incredibly affluent. And yet you see how the culture was, right? We'll discuss a little bit more about that aspect. So let's go to text 6 of this chapter, and we'll do the Sanskrit and then discuss a little bit. Dishtya me bhagavan drishto Dhurdarsho yo kritatmanam Dishtya padarajas prishtam Shirshna me bhavata shivam. दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो दुर्दर्शो यो कृतात्मनाम् दिष्ट्या पादरजस्पृष्टाम् शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवम्. Somebody wanna chant? दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवम्. दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो दुर्दर्शो यो कृतात्मनाम् दिष्ट्या पादरजस्पृष्टाम् शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवम्. दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो दुर्दर्शो यो कृतात्मनाम् दिष्ट्या पादरजस्पृष्टाम् शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवम्. Mataji, chant. दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो दुर्दर्शो यो कृतात्मनाम् दिष्ट्या पादरजस्पृष्टाम् शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवा. You wanna try? Draupadi, you wanna try? Okay. दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो दुर्दशो यो कृतात्मनाम् दिष्ट्या पादरजस्पृष्टाम् शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवम्. दिष्ट्या मे भगवान् दृष्टो दुर्दर्शो यो कृतात्मनाम् दिष्ट्या पादरजस्पृष्टाम् शीर्ष्णा मे भवतः शिवम्. Thank you. This is translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word for word. Dishtya. Let's do it together. Okay. Dishtya, by good fortune. May, my. Bhagavan, all powerful. Drishta is seen. Dhurdharsha, not easily seen. Yaha, who. Akrita atmanam, of those who have not controlled the mind and senses. Dishtya, by my good fortune. Padaraja, the dust of the feet. Sprishtam is touched. Sirshna, by the head. Me, my. Bhavata, your. Shivam, causing all auspiciousness. It is my good fortune that I have been able to see you, for you cannot easily be seen by persons who have not subdued the mind or controlled the senses. I am all the more fortunate to have touched with my head the blessed dust of your feet. Can somebody read the purport?
The perfection of transcendental life can be achieved simply by touching the holy dust of the lotus feet of a holy man. In Bhagavatam, it is said, Mahar Pada Rajo Vishekam, which means to be blessed by the holy dust of the lotus feet of a Mahar, a great devotee. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Maharmanas 2, those who are great souls are under the spell of spiritual energy, and their symptom is that they fully engage in Krishna consciousness for the service of the Lord. Therefore, they are called Mahar. Unless one is fortunate enough to have the dust of the lotus feet of a of a Mahatma on one's head, there is no possibility of perfection in spiritual life. The Parampara system of disciplic succession is very important as a means of spiritual success. One becomes a Mahat by the grace of his Mahat spiritual master. If one takes shelter of the lotus feet of a great soul, there is every possibility of one's also becoming a great soul. When Maharaj Rahugana asked Jada Bharata about his wonderful achievements of spiritual success, he replied to the king that spiritual success is not possible simply by following the rituals of religion, or simply by converting oneself into a sannyas, or offering sacrifices as recommended in the scriptures. These methods are undoubtedly helpful for spiritual realization, but the real effect is brought about by the grace of a Mahatma. In Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura's 8 stanzas of prayers to the spiritual master, it is clearly stated that simply by satisfying the spiritual master one can achieve the supreme success in life, and in spite of executing all ritualistic performances, if one cannot satisfy the spiritual master, one has no access to spiritual perfection.
Which verse is this? You remember? Yasya prasada. Yes.
Here the word akirtatmanam is very significant. Atma means bodies, soul or mind, and akirtatma means the common man, who cannot control the senses or the mind. Because the common man is unable to control the senses and the mind, it is his duty to seek the shelter of a great soul or a great devotee of the Lord, and just try to please him. That will make his life perfect. A common man cannot rise to the topmost stage of spiritual perfection simply by following the rituals and religious principles. He has to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and work under his direction, faithfully and sincerely. Then he becomes perfect without a doubt.
Jai. So here we have a clue to how we can perfect our lives. Swayambhu Manu is giving us this clue, and he's saying, I am all the more fortunate to have touched my head, with my head, the blessed dust of your feet. What is so special about the dust of Kardama Muni's lotus feet? Yeah, he's a Mahatma, right? And Prabhupada is saying, Mahatma means somebody who has taken shelter of Krishna's internal potency, right? Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashrita. That he has taken ashrita, shelter of Krishna's internal energy. And therefore, his dust of his lotus feet is incredibly invaluable. And the effects of taking the dust of such a devotee's lotus feet is that we become perfect also. There are 3 things it is said that can bring us perfection, that are associated with an incredibly advanced devotee. One is this verse, which is the dust of the lotus feet, right? The other is the water that has washed the lotus feet of the devotee. I forget what the third one is. Does anybody remember? Yeah, the third one is the remnants that is left behind by this incredible devotee. And do we remember any such instances where such items that have been left behind by the devotee has incredible transformational effect on somebody? Yes. This is Narada Muni. Right in the first canto we see how these Bhakti Vedantas, these incredibly advanced devotees, come to the house of Narada Muni. They're staying there for the rainy season. And one day when Narada Muni was serving them prasad, they said, okay Narada Muni, now you can take our remnants. When you see it from an external perspective, it's like, why will you take somebody else's leftovers? Doesn't make any sense. Right? This is something incredible that Swayambhu Manu is saying. It is my good fortune that I have been able to see you, for you cannot be easily seen. Why is he saying that? Kardama Muni is standing right in front. Anybody can see Kardama Muni. Isn't it? And yet, he's saying, you cannot be easily seen. Why?
You might be able to see his like physical body, but to see his qualities and to identify a pure devotee
Yes.
is I think I might remember seeing somewhere that like you can only see a pure devotee if you're a pure devotee yourself.
Yes. Yes. So externally speaking, like we were seeing, if you look at the setting of the scene, right, Kardama Muni has matted hair, he is probably having a deer skin in a hermitage where he's really poor when you see him externally. Whereas Swayambhavu Manu is the emperor of the entire universe. He's coming in his incredible chariot. You must imagine the kind of jewelry and the opulence and things that he must have just with him, and think about what he might have in his palace and the servants that would come just by a call. And yet, he sees something really valuable in Kardama Muni. This is what we have to notice, right? Rupa Goswami says in the Nectar of Instruction, Drishtair svabhava janitair vapusascha doshair na prakratatvamiha bhakta janasya pashet gangam bhasham nakalo budbudapena pankair brahma dhravatvam apagacchati niradharmair. So if you see the Ganges or any river in the rainy season, right now we are having, how does it look? It looks really muddy. It's rainy, yes, it's obvious, but it looks very muddy. It's not very clear. The water is not very clear because the rain is constantly moving the water around, and it's very, very muddy. It said the Ganges in its rainy season was also very, very muddy. But it doesn't lose its purity just because the Ganges is muddy or dirty. So just like that, a pure devotee of the Lord, he might have several physical deformities or he might have imperfections externally, but it doesn't make him any lesser. Drishtair svabhava janitair vapu sashtu doshair. Vapu means body. Sashtu doshair means there is some problems with his body. Na prakrataktvam iha bhakta janasya pashet. That we should not see that person as an ordinary person. And the example that Rupa Goswami is giving is just like how Ganges might be muddy in the rainy season, but the Ganges doesn't lose purity. It can take away the sins of everybody because it's touched the lotus feet of the Lord, right? Doesn't matter how dirty it is. So Swayambhavu Manu is able to recognize such a person, although on the outside he might not look anywhere close to what our idea of somebody who might be exalted could be. But yet Swayambhavu Manu is saying it's not very easy, because for who can see such a person? Swayambhavu Manu is saying. Does anybody remember from the verse? He says it's not very easy to see for persons who have not controlled their senses and their mind. For such people, it's very, very hard to see pure devotees of the Lord. So the first thing for us to do, Prabhupada says, is for a common man who is not able to control his mind and the senses, what is Prabhupada asking us to do? Yeah, he's saying specifically, take shelter of a spiritual master or a great soul or a great devotee of the Lord. Right? This is the first step in any spiritual endeavor. Rupa Goswami lists 64 limbs of devotional service. You know what the first limb of that devotional service is? You should know. Yes. Guru Padashraya, accepting the shelter of a spiritual master. This is what it is. And only by that, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. This is the statement that Prabhupada is quoting. Only by the mercy of the spiritual master can we get the mercy of Krishna. Without the mercy of spiritual master, there is no way you can get the mercy of Krishna. Couple of days back was the disappearance of Raghunath Das Goswami. He is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. He is an exalted devotee of the Lord. He was born in a very, very rich family, incredibly opulent family of Mazumdars. They owned land. They had so many servants. And yet he heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he wanted to see Mahaprabhu. And he went to Mahaprabhu. What did Mahaprabhu say? You remember the first time that Mahaprabhu saw Raghunath Das Goswami? What did he say? No, Raghunath, you have to go back. Stay at home. Again, Raghunath Das Goswami tries after some time. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, stay at home. And then finally, how does Raghunath Das Goswami actually get the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Does anybody know? The point that we're discussing, spiritual master. That's the hint. So there is this place called Panihati, which was very close to where Raghunath Das Goswami was. No. You went completely there. So Nityananda Prabhu is there in Panihati with so many of his disciples and devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has sent Nityananda Prabhu from Jagannath Puri to specifically preach in Bengal. He said, you go, you don't have to stay with me. This is incredibly difficult for Nityananda Prabhu because every single minute he's thinking, how can I serve Krishna? It's Balaram himself. Balaram Hailo Nitai, right? But Mahaprabhu is saying, no, you go to Bengal. I want you to preach in Bengal. But this is what Krishna's order is. So Nityananda Prabhu goes to Bengal to preach. And Raghunath Das Goswami is there in Bengal. And yet, he doesn't recognize Nityananda Prabhu. He doesn't recognize the spiritual master. He wants to directly go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Couldn't meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Nityananda Prabhu is there in Panihati. And then Raghunath Das Goswami comes. And then Nityananda Prabhu playfully chastises him. Oh, this is a thief. He wants to go over me. He wants to jump over me. And then he gives him a sweet punishment to make chiradahi. This is yogurt and flat rice. This is a preparation that we make. It's during the Panihati festival. It's called the Panihati Chiradahi festival. So he's a rich person. So Nityananda Prabhu says, oh, you should make this for all the devotees. This is our punishment to you. And then he puts his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das Goswami. The dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master. That is what gave Raghunath Das Goswami the access to go and associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was there with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 18 years, I think, in Jagannath Puri, personally serving him. He tried and tried on his own. Never could go anywhere close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu could he actually go and take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? This is what Prabhupada is saying here. Is that the first duty is to take shelter of the spiritual master. And only by the mercy of the spiritual master can we have Krishna. And the spiritual master is not and we can see in this example that we saw, Nityananda Prabhu didn't say, everything has to go through me. Did he say that? Nityananda Prabhu is not even present in Jagannath Puri. Raghunath Das Goswami could do direct service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course there he had Swarup Damodar. He was there who could guide Raghunath Das Goswami, who was his spiritual master there also. But this is the transparent via media of the spiritual master. The spiritual master, we go through the spiritual master, but the spiritual master is not somebody who's blocking us and saying, oh, everything has to go through me. He's in fact helping us in perfecting our direct service to Krishna. Because all of us have an individual relationship with Krishna. We're serving Krishna in that capacity. All of us have that. We've forgotten that. The entire process of bhakti is to reawaken it, right? The spiritual master therefore is helping us in that entire process to reawaken ourselves in our service to Krishna. That is the glory of the spiritual master. And the highest spiritual master is Srimati Radharani. Right? And the Radharani's mood is that, oh, I am not qualified. Let this person go and serve Krishna. This is the spiritual master's mood. Right? It's not that the spiritual master is there, because there is this thought, now why should I go through this person? It's very easy to take shelter of Krishna. Because he's showing us this incredible gigantic form from which everything emanates. From his navel, a lotus comes. You can actually see, oh, this is God. Okay, I'm very tiny, I'm minuscule. Let me take shelter. But to take shelter of somebody who looks exactly like us, who apparently does the things that we do, is not a very easy thing. Right? This is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmande Brahmite kon bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bij. That this is not an ordinary thing at all to actually get the shelter or the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So when we are in the society of devotees, the community of devotees, we might forget it. Because all of us are devotees and we are seeing each other and we might start thinking that, oh, this person is this person is that. But devotees, however tiny or beginner they might be, who have taken shelter of Krishna and the spiritual master, are not ordinary people at all. Because this is a very rare occurrence. What does he say? The Jnani, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. What's the beginning verse? Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. That a person, after many lifetimes, comes to this recognition, realization that Krishna is everything, and takes shelter of Krishna. Prapatti or Sharanagati, Sarva Dharman Paridyacha Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, Krishna says. Such a person is not an ordinary person. And who do we take shelter of? Prabhupada says, we have to take shelter of a Mahat, or such a exalted devotee, and therefore we can come to this platform of Mahat. He says this in the purport of the Nectar of Instruction also, that only by taking shelter of Uttamadhikari can we come to the platform of Uttamadhikari. And finally, one last thing I wanted to say is Prabhupada is quoting this, giving evidence to why the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee is incredible. He's saying this, in the Bhagavatam it is said, Mahat Pada Rajobhishekam. Mahat Pada means the lotus feet of an exalted devotee. Raja means, you know what? No, that's Raja. Dust. Vraj Raj, have you heard? The dust of Raj. Vraj Raj. Raj means dust. Rajo Abhishekam. What is Abhishek? Take the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee and pour it all over yourself. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Jada Bharata speaking to Rahugana and saying, that's the only way you can attain perfection, by taking the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee and bathing yourself with it. Only then can we get some mercy from the devotee. But we can speak more. We're going to have Damodar Ashtakam at 8:30. So we'll stop here, and if there are any questions or comments, we can take.
Very nice class. I have a comment and a question.
Yes.
I remember reading in Srimad Bhagavatam that the body is simply a dead body without the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, or the Mahatma.
Yes.
So I was thinking how fortunate we are that every morning we can put Srila Prabhupada's dust of his lotus feet on our head, and we can actually live. The next question is actually about Narada Muni taking the remnants. He asks the sages, and so I was wondering if there's significance in asking.
He doesn't ask, actually. The sages themselves give.
By getting permission. Oh.
The sages give permission for him to take.
Okay, so then my question is there something in this too? Because it seems like it's very specific why he says this.
Yeah.
So sometimes I wonder if there's some kind of process that when we take the remnants of a Mahatma, the spiritual master, that we're actually supposed to give permission or ask permission, or is it just? I'm curious.
Yeah, ideally we should. They should permit us. We shouldn't even ask. Once they say, okay, now you can take, then that's incredibly powerful. Such a remnant that they themselves are willing to part is incredibly powerful. That's basically the ideal way of doing things. But the spiritual masters or these exalted devotees, when they leave remnants, also know that I've seen many times my spiritual master, there won't be a single speck that you can take from his plate. So when they want, they can leave things in their plate to say, okay, because they don't waste prasad. No, it's prasadam, so they know the value of it. But the best way, so there are different levels to doing anything. The best thing is when the devotee actually gives us, okay, now you can have this. Yes, Mataji.
When it says to bathe in the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee, obviously we do try to get the actual dust, but I think I'm guessing it's more symbolic, or meaning to be humble, or take shelter. That's
correct. So this is poetry. Srimad Bhagavatam is correct. Srimad Bhagavatam is poetry, no? So poetry has a literal meaning. Okay, you go behind the person, take buckets of dust and pour it over yourself. Or the best way to actually take the dust of the lotus feet of such an exalted devotee is follow the instructions of such a devotee. Then the devotee is naturally, this is what is the core verse of how you approach the spiritual master, right? Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. That you go, humbly submit yourself and serve such a spiritual master, and then when you inquire from him, he'll actually tell you what the truth is, because he's seen the truth. So when we are serving such a spiritual master, the spiritual master naturally is inclined to bestow mercy upon his devotee. Yeah, that's basically it. But the dust also has incredible potency. The physical dust also has incredible potency if you can get it. That's why they say everything in Vraj, Vrindavan, is starting to disappear, right? The Goswamis came and somehow recovered the pastimes of Radha Krishna, but most of it is going. Govardhan is sinking one mustard seed every day, they say. And we might be probably the last generation that sees even Giriraj, or probably 2-3 generations. It said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Mahaprabhu left this world, Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to commit suicide from Giriraj. That's how tall it was. If you fell, you would die. Now if you go to the end of Giriraj, you might have to fall 20-30 times for you to basically it's pretty, not 20 feet probably, no? It completely goes. But they say the dust of Vrindavan will stay till the annihilation of the universe. The dust of Vrindavan is very powerful. And one last thing I want to say before going, because we're speaking about dust that I just remembered, is we're doing Damodar, we're celebrating Damodar Leela for this whole month. But do you know what triggers this conversation about Damodar Leela in the Bhagavatam? How does Shukadev Goswami actually narrate this Damodar Leela? What happens before? Once upon a time, that's how he starts. Shukadev Goswami is asking, Parikshit Maharaj is asking something from Shukadev Goswami. The chapter before is when Krishna actually eats the dirt. He's eating the dirt and then showing this entire universal form to Mother Yashoda. And then what is Mother Yashoda's reaction? Does she, like, you see what Arjun's reaction is when Krishna shows him the universal form. He's terrified of Krishna. He's saying, he's bowing from all places. But Mother Yashoda's reaction is, oh, this is still my child. This is still my boy. She doesn't even think about the universal form of Krishna. And then Parikshit Maharaj asks Shukadev Goswami, what kind of love is this? That the Supreme Person is showing her the universal form, and yet she has no inclination towards that aspect of the Lord at all. What kind of love is this? And that's how he starts narrating the story itself. So it starts with the mud, the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis who have traversed throughout Vraj. Krishna wants to eat it. That he wants to eat the dust of his devotees. The devotees want to take the dust of Krishna. It's a transcendental competition, like Prabhupada says. And that's what we're celebrating, right? That Krishna can actually come under the love of such an exalted devotee. That this love that we're going to celebrate this for this entire month is something that is unseen in the 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam that we've seen so far. Everybody, we have seen exalted devotees. Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, so many people, Ambarish Maharaj. But yet, the love that Yashoda Maya had, Mother Yashoda had for Krishna, Shukadev Goswami is confused. What kind of love is this? That the complete opulence aspect of Krishna doesn't matter to her at all. She's completely in the sweetness of, her love is completely in the mood of sweetness to Krishna. No? So that, I remembered that when you were saying that. So thank you. I think we should stop. We are 4 minutes over time. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री श्री दामोदर मंथ की जय। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।